Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayeshu Vadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 2, Maharaj Nimi meets the 9 Yogendras. Text number 51 onwards. Na yasya janma karma bhyam na varnashram jatiti sajjate asmin aham bhavo dehe vay sahare priya. So, what's his name? Havir Rishi is further speaking about the qualities of Uttam Bhakti. Birth in an aristocratic family and the execution of austere and pious activities certainly cause one to take pride in himself. Similarly, if one enjoys a prestigious position within society because his parents are highly respected members of the Varnashram social system, one becomes even more infatuated with himself. But if despite these excellent material qualifications, one does not feel even a tinge of pride within himself, he is to be considered the dearmost servitor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. See, this is a quality of Bhagavat Uttama. And he's very dear to Krishna if he doesn't even have a pride, even though he has all excellent material qualifications. According to Srila Sridhar Swami, the word Janma, good birth, refers to such classes as Murdha Vasiktas, or children of Brahman fathers and Kshatriya mothers, and Ambasthas, children of Brahman fathers and Vaishya mothers, both of which are considered Anulom, since the father comes from a higher caste. Marriages in which the mother comes from a higher class and the father are called Pratilom. In any case, one who becomes proud of his so-called prestigious birth is certainly in the bodily concept of life. Birth in any material body is a serious problem, which one should solve by surrendering to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One can thereby release himself from the golden shackles of his so-called aristocratic material body. So, wherever we are born, doesn't matter. Okay, we are born in that family, from that parents because of our pious activities from previous life. If we are born in a very high aristocratic family. But then what? If we don't perform devotional service, if we don't surrender, then next birth we can take in a lower family. So what is the point? So one should just start from wherever he is in the devotional service. According to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Kanishta Adhikaris think that Karma Mishra Bhakti or devotional service mixed with material endeavor is the ultimate in spiritual life. They become attached to verses such as this, Varnashram Charavata, Purushena Parahapama. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, is worshipped by the proper execution of prescribed duties in the system of Varna and Ashram. There is no other way to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One must be situated in the institution of the 4 Varnas and Ashrams. But that's not a very high understanding of Bhakti. It's good to serve Vishnu in any case, but just by situated in Varna Ashram, one does Bhakti, that's a Karma Mishra Bhakti. It's not pure. Thus, they think that material work in which a portion of the fruits are offered to God forms the highest platform of human life. According to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, there are several Smriti literatures that have encouraged such mixed devotional service. Such books are taken by the materialistic devotees as facility for offending the holy name of the Lord because of egotistic attachment to the material body. Thus, one thinks that the prestigious position in the Varnashram system, according to birth and so-called pious activities, is a prerequisite for becoming successful in life. But that's not the ultimate goal, because then even sometimes some places we read that, although for devotees it doesn't matter, but some places we read that male body is better than female body, because so many times we go through all this, read this. But for Vaishnavas, nothing, no such bodily designation, man, woman, Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra matters, nothing. What matters is how surrendered are we to Krishna? What is the how much love we have developed for Krishna? What's the relationship of the soul with Krishna, not the body? Body can be helpful. Either way, man, woman, Brahman, Kshatriya, whatever situation it is, body is just an instrument, just a tool to carry out devotional service. That's about it. So, so to come to that level, it is difficult, because we always get attracted by somebody else's service. We might have some inclination, but we see somebody else is getting more respect because of whatever qualifications he has. Then we start thinking, oh, I wish I had that kind of body. No, whatever body we have. Idea is to please Krishna, that's all. Nothing else matters. And anybody can please Krishna. He is pleased by little service. Look at all the incarnations. Lord Ram, who he was pleased with by their service. Of course, his brothers, they are in different platform anyway. They're on a different platform. But then when he went to the forest, King Guha, Kevat, then all the monkeys, Sugriv, Hanumanji, Jamban, and all the rest of the monkey armies, Jatayu, Sampati, Vibhishan, born in an Asura family, Shabri, they all served Ram. And Ram was very pleased with it. Everybody served. That squirrel who was helping in making the bridge. See, all these entities, everybody, they just served Ram. And Ram was very pleased with their devotion service. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, look at him. Haridas Thakur was born in a Muslim family. Shrivas Acharya, not born in a very, very high family. Advaita Acharya was in a Brahmin family. And other, Shivanand Sen, even the dog that got mercy of Shivanand Sen got mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu later on. And so many others. When we read Chaitanya Charitamrita, we'll get to know all this. So what matters is bhakti. That is most important. Body is not. Body is just a vehicle. So one who is just confined to the bodily status is not a Uttam Bhakta. Further, it is said in the purport, but those who have actually taken shelter of the holy name of Krishna never boast about their birth in the material world, nor do they pride themselves on their so-called expertise in material work. As long as one's mentality is encumbered by the material designations of the Varnashram system, one has very little chance of becoming free from material bondage and establishing himself as dear to the Lord. In this regard, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu emphatically declared that he could not identify himself with any varnashram designation, such as that of a great intellectual or priest, a courageous warrior in Lord's army. Like he said, I'm not a Brahman, a Kshatriya, a brilliant businessman making money for the Lord, or a Vaishya, or the hardest worker for the Lord, not a Shudra. Nor would Chaitanya Mahaprabhu identify himself as a stalwart brahmachari, a noble householder, or an exalted sannyasi. These designations reflect the material pride that can infiltrate the execution of devotional service. Although a devotee may carry out the standard duties of varnashram, his only designation is Gopi Bhartu Padakamalayora Das Das Anudasa, the eternal servant of the servant of the servant of the Lord, the master of the gopis, Krishna. So Krishna's name that is given, Gopi Bhartur Padakam. Gopi Bhartu means not even Yashodanandan Krishna. Of course, they are same, but here the inclination is towards Krishna, which has that love or relationship with the gopis. Nitya Kishore Krishna. And that too is servant of the servant of servant of the Lord, not even direct servant of Krishna. That can bring some pride in the heart. But if somebody is servant of the servant of servant, Das, 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 and Das, there's no chance of having any pride. And that is when he becomes very dear to Krishna. According to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, when a devotee understands that the process of Bhakti Yoga is complete in itself and he becomes absorbed in hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord, the supremely merciful personality of God affectionately lifts such a first-class devotee onto his own lap. The Supreme Lord can be pleased only by unalloyed devotion, not by any arrangements of the gross body, composed of 5 material elements, or the subtle body, composed of innumerable speculations and bogus pride. So he has a best body, made of Satchidananda, made of Satchidananda. So why would he care for our body, which is made of only 5 gross and 3 subtle elements? In other words, Lord Krishna can never be pleased by one so-called aristocratic body, which is due to be devoured by worms and vultures. If one becomes proud of his material birth and so-called pious activities, by such false pride, one gradually develops the impersonal mentality of merely renouncing the fruit of work, or else a karmi mentality of enjoying the fruits of work. So both ways it is very dangerous for one to make progress. Neither the karmis nor the jnani speculators are aware that the fruit of work actually belongs to Krishna. The conclusion is that one should carefully give up false pride and always remember that he is a humble servant of Krishna. Then he can make progress, and then this is what pleases Krishna. Further it is said, Na yasya swaha paraiti vitteshvatmani vabhina sarva bhuta samashanta savai bhagavatuttamaha. When a devotee gives up the selfish conception by which one thinks this is my property and that is his, and when he is no longer concerned with the pleasure of his own material body or indifferent to the discomforts of others, he becomes fully peaceful and satisfied. He considers himself simply one among all the living beings who are equally part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such a satisfied Vaishnava is considered to be at the highest standard of devotional service. Hmm. He's no longer concerned with the pleasures of his own material body or indifferent to the discomforts of others. Means he cares for others, but he doesn't care for himself. He becomes fully peaceful and satisfied. Such a Vaishnava is considered to be at the highest standard of devotion service. The vision described by the phrase Sarva Bhuta Sama, seeing all living entities equally, does not include one's vision of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In this connection, Srila Madhvacharya has quoted from the Harivansha as follows. Under no circumstances one should consider the living entity equal to Lord Vishnu, either in conditional life or in liberation. The impersonal speculative philosophers are fond of imagining that although in our present illusion we appear to be individual entities, at liberation we shall all merge into God and be God. Such wishful thinkers cannot reasonably explain how the omnipotent God could arrive at the embarrassing position of having to enter a yoga studio, pay weekly fees, press his nose, and chant mantras to regain his divinity. That is not possible. It means we are never going to become God. Only thing is, we can only purify our dirty consciousness and become and revive the position of being an eternal servant of God. The individuality or plurality of living entities is not a product of material existence. The word Nityanam, denoting the plurality of eternal entities, clearly indicates that the living entities are eternally individual parts and parcels of the Lord, who is a singular, unique entity described here as Eka. In Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna said to Krishna, "My dear Achyuta, please place my chariot between the two armies. This body is also like a ratha, a vehicle, and therefore the best policy is to request the infallible Lord to take charge of our conditioned body and guide us on the path back to the kingdom of God." The word Achyuta means the infallible or one who never falls. Learned or sane human beings will not entertain the silly notion that the omnipotent, omniscient God has slipped and fallen because of Maya. That is not possible. So he is Achyuta. We are Achyuta. Living entity is fallen. According to Srila Jiva Goswami and Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, this verse of Srimad Bhagavatam does not forbid using a particular object in the Lord's service, since a devotee is free to use anything favorable for serving Lord Krishna. This acceptance of favorable objects in the service of Krishna is called the Yukta Vairagya. One should be attached for Krishna's sake, never for one's own sake. If one interprets this verse to indicate that one should not exercise control over any material object, even if it is favorable for serving Krishna, one falls into the bad understanding called Falgu Vairagya, or immature renunciation. Great kings such as Maharaj Yudhishthira and Maharaj Parikshit engaged the entire earth, and other Vaishnavas have engaged the entire universe in the service of Krishna. But they completely gave up the sense of their personal proprietorship. That is a point made in this verse. Just as one becomes very much concerned about any pain in one's own body, one should be concerned with bringing the conditioned souls to the platform of devotional service so that all of their suffering will be banished forever. That is the actual purport of not distinguishing between one body and another. So that kind of devotee is very, very dear to the Lord. Not just that one thinks of himself and doesn't care for others. That is not even a devotee. Vaishnava is par dukkhe dukkhi. They are sad, they're distressed seeing other person in misery. Doesn't even talk about spiritual misery, talks about any kind of misery. Vaishnava is very, very sad to see, distressed. because his heart becomes full of compassion. Only thing is, he knows where to apply that compassion. And then that person becomes very dear to Krishna. So I guess we can stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments, and I have a question for everybody.
Prabhuji, we still have 5 minutes.
I know, but I have a question for everybody. And that I'll ask after stopping the recording.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, I guess we can stop the recording, but you all please stay.